I'm Dan from 4MS Company, and we have brought a new module here to NAMM 2020. It's called the Ensemble Oscillator. It's a collaboration between Matthias Puech and 4MS Company. And you may recognize the name Matthias Puech from also our capographic delay, among other things that he's done. So we're very happy to finally have this thing sounding awesome and in person. It's an oscillator. It's 16 HP, it's Eurorack format, and it's very unique in the oscillator world. It has 16 oscillators inside, and each oscillator is tuned to different notes in a scale that you pick. But it's more than just a chord machine like that, because the notes in the scale can also be thought of as harmonics in a series of harmonics. And if you know a little bit about physics or theory, and if you don't, when you add up different sine waves that are all tuned to different harmonics, you get complex waveforms. So it really rides the boundary between, is it making chords or is it arpeggiating through scales? And or at the same time, is it creating complex waveforms that dynamically evolve as the phase of these sine waves change and things like this. Of course, you can CV through everything, and there's knobs for all kinds of the controls. So you're not only just letting it make these things, you're also messing it up and changing the scales, and you can live re-record scales and things like that. So yeah, so it's very unique. It's also one of the center things you hear in the audio of it is that when you're changing, when an oscillator is changing between notes in the scale or harmonics in the harmonic series, it doesn't bend, it doesn't pitch bend between them, it crossfades between them. And what that means is that at any given time, it's always going to be tuned to those pitches or octaves or whatever intervals you pick above and below in your scale. So what ends up happening is that it's not like a cloud oscillator in the sense that it pushes pitches around a central point. It's more like what I'm describing. It's a new type of thing. So besides just sine waves where they start, there's also a bunch of different algorithms, types of synthesis techniques to get more complex waveforms from each oscillator, which are then added together. So we have one of the main knobs is twist, which has this little switch by it. You can select different twist algorithms, which are different types of distortion. One is pulsar, which if you are a student of Curtis Rhodes philosophy, you may recognize pulsar synthesis. This is not a complete pulsar synthesis device, but it does allow you to control one aspect of that, which is taking waves and squishing them with silence in between. And then you can control not only the width, but also the frequency of those little pulses. And then you have 16 of those that you add together, so you can create some really interesting wave shapes with that. That's just one of the twist modes. There's two others, bit crushing and ramp up, which is a feedback thing that makes more saw waves. Then there's also warp algorithms, which are types of wavefolding distortions. So there's some kind of more pretty like sinusoidal based ones, and then there's more linear like saw based wavefolding, all CV controllable of course. There's detuning for get kind of the stereo things swarming around things. So and then of course 2 1-volt per octave inputs. So you can play with a keyboard just like any oscillator. You can also play it only quantized, so you can play it with an LFO and it'll cycle through your scales and chords. And one big feature about this is this button at the top called Learn. It allows you to program a new scale live. If you have your keyboard plugged in, you can just play a CV gate keyboard, you can just play a scale, hit Learn, play a scale, save it, and now it's saved in there, and now all your notes will be, all your oscillators will be tuned to that scale. Hit it again, play another one, now you have a new one. If you don't have a CV gate keyboard, you can use an LFO or something like that, or any manual. You can also do it on board. You don't even have to patch anything into it. You can turn the knob, hold the button and turn the knob to dial in your notes. It's a little slower to do it that way, but it's perfectly reasonable if you want to set up a bunch of scales ahead of time, and then you can CV through them if you like. Yeah, I think there's the one last feature maybe is freezing. You can freeze some of the oscillators and let the other ones flow and change with CV and with knobs, and then unfreeze them, freeze them again, like that, which lets you kind of do point counterpoint type things. So anyways, we're pretty excited about this thing. It's at a pretty good price point. It's $299, and for all these features, we feel is like really a really great deal. So, and it's going to be available. It's in production right now. It's available April 20th, and yeah, we love it. So.